Today's lesson is cubic and cube root functions. We're going to start with how to graph cube root functions. So because this question in Alex is asking you to graph the function, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to go over to desmos.com and we're going to click on the graphing calculator. There is a link in your Schoology folder for today on the classwork page to take you right over to desmos.com. We're going to put in this equation and we're going to plot 5 points on the graph. They want us first to plot the point using the x value that satisfies this equation. Uh, Notice that they want y to equal 0. They basically want us to graph the x-intercept is what they're asking us to graph first. And then they want you to pick 2 points to the left and 2 points to the right of that x-intercept. So those are the 5 points that they want. So let's go ahead and let's take a look over at desmos.com and let's go ahead and graph the function. So to the square root we have seen right down here by the ABC, but that's not what we want. We want the cubic one. So over by the blue arrow on the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to click the word at the top that says functions. And this menu will pop up. You're going to want to go to the very end at the top where it says miscellaneous, M-I-S-C, miscellaneous. And we're going to be in the second row, 3 up from the bottom, the one with the square root, the one with the root, the radical, and the n inside. This is going to allow us to put our index of 3, and then we can go ahead and go inside and we can type in what it had said. All right, we want the x-intercept, so it's 1, 0. Remember, Alex said they wanted where y is 0. So there it is on the graph. That's our x-intercept. We're going to click the little widget above and create our table. Let's go ahead and let's delete what they have, because we want the answers that Alex wants. So right here in the middle, this is where I'm going to put my 1 from my x-intercept. And then I'm simply going to count backwards. I'm simply going to count backwards. Oh, I think it still has my negative. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try 0. As long as I get a whole number for y, I'm going to go ahead and keep it. If I don't, then I'm just going to try the next one. Remember, I'm counting backwards. So I'm going to try -1, not keeping that. -2, nope. -3, nope. -4, nope. 5, nope. -6, nope. -7. There, I finally found one. Now I'm going to do the same thing counting forward from 1. So I'm going to try 2. It's a whole number, so I keep it. I'm going to try 3. Nope. 4. Nope. 5. Nope. 6. Nope. Maybe 7. Nope. I really thought 7 would work because -7 did. Nope. 9. There we go. I finally got my table of my 5 values just like Alex wanted. So let's go ahead and let's go back. Remember, if you want to see them as actual ordered pairs for plotting purposes in Alex, you can click on the points now in the graph and they will show you as the ordered pairs. Don't forget that Alex has this great feature right here that if you click on this button, you can put the ordered pair in and Alex will simply plot the point for you. It will actually allow you to plot the point. So you could put in -7, 2, and there's a little green button, and Alex will actually come down and it will just automatically put the point on the graph for you. You could type in next 0, -1, and Alex will put the point in for you. Yep. You'll put in 1, 0, and Alex will put the point in for you. I mean, it's just totally awesome, you guys. 2, 1. Yeah, doesn't look right. Or -1. Oh yeah, I messed up. See, I need Alex. So I messed up here too. 0, 0, -1. There we go. 1, 0, 2, 1. There we go. There we go. And last but not least, 9, 2. 9, 2. There we go. Did I get the first one right? Yep. Then, of course, if you're going to go ahead and click this button, it's going to make the shape of your graph and it's going to make it look just kind of like it did over there on Desmos. There we go. Okay. All right. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to see how to do the inverse of cube and cubic root functions. So this is a one-to-one function. F is defined below by this cube function. And they want you to find the inverse f -1 of x. And then, of course, they're reminding you again that f to the -1 is the inverse of f. So remember, what you're going to do first is you're going to go ahead and take this f of x and you're going to change it to y. So you want to think of it as y equals x minus 7 to the third power. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the inverse. And to do the inverse, I'm going to change the letter y to the letter x, and I'm going to change the letter x to the letter y. So I'm just simply switching my variables. Oops, I wanted to put 7. I'm just going to switch my variables. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to draw my line through my equal sign just to help me out. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight the y variable because my whole goal is to get this y variable alone. To get rid of the cube, to get rid of this cube, I am going to take the cubic root of both sides. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to take this, but my index needs to be 3 so that I can undo my cube of my y minus 7. So now I have y minus 7. And remember, my focus is still to get that y alone. But on the other side, I have my cube root of x. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the 7 to the other side. Since it is not a like term to the cubed x, the cube root of x. Ooh, that's hard to remember to say correctly. There we go. Now remember, this y, I can't add them together. So this y, remember, it can be, the last step is to change it to the inverse notation. So what are you going to put in the blank? Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. You're going to put in your cubic root. And of course, you do that by hitting this guy right here, x, and then make sure you're outside plus 7. And that's it for that one. You do have a fourth question on today's assignment. It's another find the inverse. So you have a one-to-one function, f defined below, but notice this time you start with the cube root. Okay, we start with the cubed root of x, and they want us to find f of -1 of x, where f of -1 is just my inverse. So they're asking me once again to find the inverse. They're asking me to find the inverse is basically what they're asking me to do. So I'm going to go ahead and change f of x to y. I'm going to change f of x to y and just copy down everything else. Now I'm all set up and I'm ready to do the inverse, which remember, to do the inverse, all you have to do is change x with y. X and y just swap places to start. So that's not so hard. I can do that. And then I'm going to start focusing on my new y over here in my inverse, and I want to get it alone. So remember, if there's ever anything hanging out behind a radical, which is your root here, you want to get rid of it first. So I want to take this and I want to move it over there. I think I better mind my equal sign too. Okay, so let's move that 8 by subtracting it. 8 and x, I don't know what they are, so I don't know what it is, so I can't actually subtract. So I just write the subtraction as a subtraction sentence, right? Y minus 1, copy, copy, copy when I solve an equation, right? Now I have to get rid of the radical because I've got my radical alone. There's nothing hanging out behind it, adding or subtracting. There's nothing hanging out here in front of it being multiplied, so I don't have to do any division. It's time to get rid of the radical. To get rid of the radical, I'm simply going to raise this side to the third power because I always raise it to whatever is my index of my radical. And since it's a cube root, I want to make sure I raise it to the third power. What I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other. Now, you actually do not have to, I found this out in Alex, you actually do not have to multiply this out. You can leave this exactly like this. Oh, thank goodness, because that's a tough one to have to multiply. And then you simply have y minus 1. You remember, you want to get the y by itself. So we still have to get rid of that minus 1 that's hanging out behind it, but we simply add the 1. Now you cannot add the 1 to the x minus 8 cubed because they're inside the parentheses. So you can't actually add the 1 to the minus 8. You would simply do, let me see, I'm going to put it over here. You would simply have y equals x minus 8 cubed plus 1. Remember, this y is your inverse, and you just have to write the notation in front. So what's going in my answer blank? This guy right here.